My new generation Saab 9.3 runs and drives fantastically. However, according to my Tech 2, it actually has 13 separate faults to it. As you'll see on the screen right here, these are all of the codes that the car has. So these codes are essentially linked to a variety of different modules in the car. And so today, we're going to start by trying to tackle some of these. Saab WIS Online is a tremendous resource when trying to figure out what is the cause of these codes. So I've searched every single one of those in WIS. We're not going to tackle all the codes in today's video. The ones that we don't, I would appreciate all of your, I guess, input on if you have any possible cause for them. So without further ado, I want to hop into our first repair, which I'm the most confident in, and that is back here. I think I know what our right rear door module code is for. From the research I did, it looks like it's either an anti-pinch thing, which essentially needs to be relearned anytime you disconnect and reconnect the battery, or it's just that the window regulator is going bad. So I did roll all the windows down a couple months back, and when I rolled it up, this one made a not so good sound, so I have not touched it since. But let's put this on the tripod and confirm that that's our problem, and then take off the door panel if so. Oh. Door panel removal on these cars is pretty straightforward. I'm going to start by popping off my door handle. The way to do that is to pull up on it and then kind of gently twist it off, and it just comes off very simply. This is a Map-Tune leather door handle. If you're curious on where to get those, you can click the video up in the top corner. Under our door panel handle, there are two T30s, and then around the whole door, there's a variety of little pop clips that you can remove kind of just by sticking a plastic pry tool in here and gently popping it up. With those out, slide up and over the door lock. Three things on the back side of the door panel, two plugs and the door handle. Door handle gently just unclips, and if you get it at the right angle, it just pops right out. Same thing with these. So we need to peel this back. If you're very gentle, you can kind of get your nails under here and pull it off without ripping the insulation. Once you kind of figure out how to do it, it's pretty easy. Now, thankfully, I was able to lower the window enough to access our two bolts. So these are two 10 mils that hold the regulator to the window, and then there's two more 10 mils on the bottom. Lastly, there's a clip for our motor. I forgot there is one more bolt way up here hiding. Just slide it out that way. There we go, pops right out. This wheel is clearly broken. I looked down in my door and it was shattered into about 4 or 5 different pieces. So obviously this should be running around the bottom of this and not getting cut through this plastic here, and that's why it was making that noise pretty badly. And obviously the window would only roll up or down so far. So as far as I can tell, you cannot buy just replacements for these little plastic pieces, and I also don't see any way to remove them. So I think we're just gonna have to get a whole new regulator. So I'm going to do that from a junkyard, and I'll catch up with you all when I have the new regulator.
Later.
As Matt Armstrong would say, we have our brand new second-hand OEM window regulator. It's important to pay attention to part numbers on these because actually sometime during the 2006 model years when Saab swapped over to a different part number for the window regulator, I assume they're not interchangeable. So thankfully I was able to find one at the junkyard that is also an older style like mine. It was starting to get messed up under there as well. get this reinstalled. Feed our couple of parts through our foam, and then this usually just kind of reattaches by itself. Flip in everything on the door panel. I like to start with the handle. To put this back on the door, the best way to do is to hook it over the top. The only hard part of getting this door panel on is lining up the lock. So I like to start by doing that. Let's hope this works. These two codes, B1585 and B1595, are relating to our driver's side mirror, essentially saying that the left, right, and up-down function of them are not working. Now, I honestly never manually adjust my mirrors, because why would I? But I see the controls are working. So that is quite odd. One thing that I will note is I have noticed that this button down here, if I push it, you can see it moves the mirror down and points it, helps you with, you know, reverse parking or looking for a curb. But if I go to the left side, it does not work. It just does the right mirror again. So I don't know if maybe that's what our issue is, or maybe for some reason this feature is just not on the driver's side, which I guess could make sense, but you can see and hear, even as I'm pressing it with it selected on the left, it's still doing the right. So maybe it has to do with this module, but let's start taking some stuff apart, because WIS recommends checking wiring, of course. That's super fun. Should be able to pop this off. Yeah. You see, this only has 2 wires going to it. I tend to believe that if something was wrong with this plug, it would probably not work at all. So I think we need to take our entire door panel off. Slide this up. There are a ton of electrical connectors back here, so I'm just disconnecting all of those. All right. Gently pull off this foam insulation. So this gives us access to all of our wiring. I can tell you right now that this goes into this harness here. One thing I will say is it looks like whatever this plug is up here in this top corner might have been a little bit unplugged. I don't really know what this connector is for. It's separate from the mirror controls. So for the past few minutes, I've been messing around quite a bit. I brought the multimeter out. I took apart this switch and was messing with this too. I just can't seem to figure out what the issue might be. It has me thinking that maybe there could be an issue within the mirror housing itself. So I think my next guess is to take that off. There we go. Gonna be honest, I'm kind of regretting taking this off because I don't know what I was expecting to find doing this. I guess I can pop off this mirror glass and see if that will reveal any issues with the wiring. Not sure what these Torx bolts go to. I'm not really seeing any issues with any of the wiring, so I think what our best bet is going to be is to put this all back together and maybe just marry the driver door module with the Tech 2 and see if it gives me an option for mirrors that I can select. Let's see if we can get this new module added, or I guess existing module remarried. Let's go through the options here on the driver door module. Not sure what comfort opening or closing is. Generally when you don't know, the highlighted option is the correct one, so I just hit enter. With anti-pinch, I have no idea what that even means. Memory mirrors, I think we're gonna go without. Foldable mirrors are manual foldable. And those are the only options it gave me. One thing to note about this is once it completes the marrying of the module, it actually clears all the DTCs that are on this module. So it's going to technically clear those DTCs that are on there. Okay, the add remove of my ECU is finished. The mirror is still working as you would expect it to. Still, I hit this button, nothing happens. The next two codes I have are UEC related, which is the module that essentially controls all the electronics for the front end of the car. And both of these codes relate to the parking lights, which are these two little lights on either side of the front bumper. It essentially is telling me that they are not working. So from what I've seen with this code, one common thing is apparently when you mess with the UEC settings in the Tech 2, and I actually have my headlight switch programmed, which obviously most 9.3s do not come with. I'll link the video in the top corner if you're interested on how to do this. But apparently this can be a common, I guess, code that comes from messing with the UEC setting. So I have a feeling we might not be able to fix this one, but I think I want to start. Essentially these parking lights should be on when the headlight switch is in position 1, which is this position right here. So if I hop outside, you can see my fog lights are on, but the parking lights are not on. So I think the easiest thing to do is just start by getting this car up in the air, removing the front bumper, and just confirming that the bulbs aren't burned out, because fingers crossed, that would be the easiest fix. Well, I think we might have just lucked out. I am pretty confident that these bulbs are actually both burnt out. You can see that is definitely not a filament that is functioning as it should. And then on this side, same deal. Also not functioning as it should. So I guess the best case scenario might have just occurred. So when you have oddball bulbs like these that burn out, the best thing to do is to take the old one out and go to AutoZone or O'Reilly's or wherever, and generally you can find one that matches. Thankfully for me, however, I actually already have some spare bulbs, so there you go. I'm guessing orange versus clear probably doesn't matter. I mean, it has an orange reflector on it, so I guess that means it's just going to be even more orange. But that one, you can see the filament's intact, so all you have to do is stick this in right into those contacts and you're good to go. Just twist in, very easy. All right, before I put the bumper back on, let's put the headlight switch in position 1 and confirm these both light up. They're still not coming on. You can read the voltage on my multimeter. I don't know if this is normal, but you can see the voltage goes up to about 7 volts and then 3 volts and then 1 and then just about nothing. And it just continuously fluctuates like that. I assume that's normal. I'm not an electrician by any means, so I have no clue what that really indicates. But that is what I'm finding so far. Now, one other thing I'll note quickly is that in my video where I did do the headlight program switch, I watched that back, there is an option for the side marker, and I chose with side marker because obviously the car does have side markers. So again, not sure what's up with that. I guess we can try remarrying the UEC, so let's give that a try and see what happens. So I do have fixed nozzle headlamp washers. I have an automatic. Rain sensors do not have that. Because I have the LEDs, we need to do xenon type 2. Yes. Fog lights, we have fog lights. And so this is kind of spoils that video I linked earlier, but the way to program your headlight switch is you want to make sure you click this one, so that way the low beam is on only when the headlight switch is in position 2, which is the top one right here. So we're going to pick that one. Side marker, so here's our side marker, and this also says headlamp assembly, not the bumper as a whole, but I assume it has to refer to the bumper portion of it. Extra lights without market US. So here's our selections. If you really want, we can double check those, but I'm gonna hit OK. All right, there we go. Let's see if that's any different. Welp, it is still not working, which is quite a disappointment. Well, somehow in this video we have managed to go backwards now. As you can see, my fog light button is no longer coming on, which also means that my fog lights are no longer working, along with obviously this not being fixed. Somehow we've gone backwards and my fog lights don't work. I'm gonna get the car put back together, and I guess I'm gonna have to do some more research into all of this. But you can see, maybe this series was not worth doing. We fixed the window regulator, which was awesome, but a lot of these codes I really am way in over my head on. So if you guys have any suggestions on any of the codes, again, I'll put them all on the screen right here. Keep in mind we did solve some of them. Please let me know down below in the comments. May or may not be a part 2 for this. For now, I'm going to call it a part 1. If I get some good suggestions and I have the motivation to try and tackle the rest of these, which again don't really impact drivability of the car at all, then we'll do a part 2. But that's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.